Our next question, Jim, sent to CornyDriveThru at gmail.com from John Almont. And this is another one very popular, and surprisingly, in the last 2 weeks, a number of people have sent it in. I was wondering if the stars aligned in a perfect world for the right price, would or could you entertain the idea of managing the Revival in AEW? Before you drop me on my head, please keep an open mind. I love you guys.
I'm not going to, what's his name?
John Almont.
John, I'm not going to drop you on your head. I wish that could have happened. I really do. But a lot of people say, goddamn, Cornette's been wishing for them to go out of business. No, wishing and predicting are two different things. And now I'm not even predicting they're going out of business, because we've seen that, especially now we've been watching Raw and SmackDown, that people will accept a substandard show with a lot of goddamn gaga on it that's stupid just because it's better than the other shit they've been watching. But going into this thing, I thought, okay, I've heard from Tony Khan he's going to be in business with Olivier and the Young Bucks. I'm afraid this is going to be an outlaw fucking mud show fiasco, but let's let him prove me wrong. And before they actually started running events, if you'd said on a limited basis, and that there wouldn't be any fucking airplanes involved, and it would be like a few TV appearances or an angle for a pay-per-view or whatever, that I would have been glad to do something with the Revival, because I like those guys and I'd want to help them get over and get in a better position. And who better to tell people what fucking pricks the Young Bucks are than me, because it would all be legitimate and people would know it was legitimate, and that's why it would get over. So I was open to that idea after I saw whether or not it was going to be a fiasco or not. And I believe then during that first pay-per-view, before they even got television, that's when we had the legless boy and the fucking, grade school child and the whole bunch of gaga. And it was even, and pockets, and it was even worse and more outlaw indie mud show than I thought it was going to be. And that's when I had to give my honest opinion. And now I don't think they want to have anything to do with me. And to be honest, I would have to sacrifice my principles to have anything to do with them. So and I would have much rather managed the fucking Revival against Cody and Dustin Rhodes, but I would have done it against the Young Bucks, but not after. No, once they have exposed us to all the stupid shit that they have exposed us to, not only do I really not have any interest, but also how could I go into it thinking, I'm going to do my best to try to manage these guys in a serious fashion, the Revival, and it's possible they could be asked to take bumps for Marco Stunt and make me look like a fucking idiot in the process? No. That ship has sailed. And I ain't missing it. And I'm pretty sure they're not missing me as a passenger. But no, it ain't going to happen. It could have at one time if they had shown that they were serious at the start about doing a wrestling promotion. But that's why I was not really interested from the start, because I didn't imagine that they were going to be, and that prophecy came true. Regardless of what you can say about the business or their ratings or their funding or how hard anybody has worked or whatever, they still had legless guys, transvestites, people painted yellow, small children, Japanese schoolgirls beating up giant monsters, all the stupidity that we've talked about for the past 6 months, even though now they're herding them over to the YouTube show and, possibly putting them out to pasture. It's still been a goddamn dog and pony show. And, it didn't have to be. And I would have been happy to speak to them, but I pretty much knew what it was going to be. And it was. And nobody can say, regardless of whether you like the promotion or not, regardless of whether they've drawn ratings or not, drawn crowds or not, nobody can come out and say, no, they did not feature a legless man. No, they do not feature a guy sticking his hands in his pockets. No, they do not. All the shit that we talk about, you can't say that because it's been on television. It's indisputable. And I am not going to be involved with any goddamn wrestling promotion that does any shit like that, especially not at this stage of my life. So it was just something that was not meant to be.
Everyone's assuming that the Revival, and we probably won't be calling them that too much longer. Won't be calling them Scott Dawson or Dash Wilder too much longer.
Maybe we'll call them CPR.
CPR?
Instead of the way you revive people with CPR.
Oh, okay.
Right?
That's not bad. We'll see if they can trademark that before Vince does.
Yeah.
But the man who will soon formally be known as Scott Dawson is already at home, his contract about to expire. The man who will soon formally be known as Dash Wilder is still there. His contract goes on a little bit longer. Everyone's assuming they're going to AEW. Let's just say there's a universe where it doesn't happen. They go work indies, they work Ring of Honor. Would you consider doing something with them outside of AEW? Because, of course, you are talking about winding down your career, and you still have a few goals in terms of really timeline more than anything else. Would you consider doing something with them outside of AEW?
Where? I'm certainly not going to fucking... they're leaving the WWE. If we take AEW out of the pit, this is why I'm not doing anything right now. There's no wrestling promotion in America that I'm particularly interested in fucking being involved with. The last one didn't work out too well because of Liver Lip Lagana being a pussy. I'm certainly, that ship has sailed that I would ever trust the NWA again. I wish them all the best and they can do a fine show, but I will not be a part of that because why would... This is what I've never understood people that go back places that have fucked them the first time. Expecting, isn't that the definition of insanity? To do the same thing over and over, expecting a different result. If they went to MLW, I don't have any problem with Court Bauer. I've mentioned that, Jesus Christ, the fucking thumbtacks. And, oh, by the way, the Warthog, old Callahan, he said, I'm not going anywhere. I'm not making any of my bookings as long as this virus is a thing. So he's an even bigger pussy than we thought. I'm not mad at Court Bauer, but they're doing tapings in Mexico for fuck's sake, which is why that I fulfilled my commitments and did not do anything further anyway, because they were going to Dallas. They didn't have enough money to get me to Dallas. You think they're going to get me to Mexico?
Yeah, plus the Revival probably want to be paid.
Well, and there's that also. No, I will not be associated with the NWA, at least as long as David Lagana's there. We can't ever say never, never, but, since David Lagana practically is the NWA staff, so there's really not much for me to do, and I ain't missing it. Actually, as I've said before, I've waited for the day that the government ordered me to stay in my home so I could do it without feeling bad about it. Because what do I do now? I go to the post office 3 days a week. It's a mile and a half each way, and I'm enjoying it. So, it's probably not going to happen. And I'd like to, if I was a little younger and there were more wrestling promotions around that actually did wrestling without having the intergender bullshit and the fucking, all the other gaga that we talk about, staple guns and fluorescent light tubes or whatever, or the silliness, they're a great tag team, but it just, I came too soon. And boy, when's the last time you heard that? You came too soon. I came too soon and they came too late.